Welcome to Skeptics to Seekers, Exploring the Edges of Wellness, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of holistic health and self-discovery. Join your hosts, Leandra Jackson and Heather Bergen, as we guide you on a journey to uncover the secrets of wellness. Each episode will challenge the conventional wisdom, explore innovative practices, and empower you to take charge of your well-being. Get ready to transform your skepticism into curiosity, and your curiosity into a path to wellness. Let's embark on this journey together.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Leandra.
And Heather.
And we are going to be doing our January podcast today. This is a really excellent opportunity to honor our bodies, honor ourselves, and having the power of gentle starts, building momentum without burnout, which is so easy to do.
Yeah.
And I really love that title. That is, so some opening questions that we have when it comes to burnout
are, have you ever noticed how motivated you feel at the beginning of January and how quickly that energy disappears?
Yeah, where are you at right now? It's what, the 7th?
Yes.
Are you there yet? And what would it look like to begin this year gently and trust that it can still lead to growth? So it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Right.
And we can certainly work into how we're going to approach this entire year.
Right. And some people might say, isn't that just an excuse? Isn't this gentle just an excuse for not really getting started or not really wanting to make change? And we're going to talk about no. It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. In fact, it's really the best way to go about making lasting change.
Absolutely.
Gentle, when we're saying a gentle start or a softer start, we're not talking about no form, right? We're not talking about not looking at making change or not creating a structure. Gentle and soft, we're talking about being flexible, being resilient, forgiving. So having a structure, but not one that's easily breakable. Not one that's so hard that the first time it takes a hit, it shatters, right? We need to be able to create something that has consistency. So we create the structure, but then we want to be able to be consistent with our habits and not just fall off track at the first thing that comes up that takes us off our plan.
Right. We don't want that new routine to be the first thing that gets scratched off the calendar.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Gentle doesn't mean without form. Basically, it is lovingly supporting yourself, not letting yourself off the hook.
Yes, absolutely. Burnout isn't a momentum problem. It's a regulation, or rather a symptom of overwhelm, a regulation problem or a symptom of overwhelm. So meaning that we can get burned out very quickly on things, even if we're just doing it for a couple of days and we just never want to do it again because we just went full bore and tried to get as much of it in as possible and see the best results right away. And that's not how we want to address our bodies. We don't want that symptom of overwhelm. And that doesn't mean just like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed in my brain, but that means like subtle changes, nervous system changes, how you're maybe even sleeping at night, just being aware of all these different changes that's going on in your body and around you in your environment. January is generally cold and dark and hunkering down, and it's like, oh, I want to be on the couch snuggling. Now, granted, here in Colorado Springs or this Peyton area, it's been really nice. We're going to be getting some weather, but it's been kind of dry and warm.
I've still had that energy of wanting to rest.
Yeah, I have too. I've actually been sleeping a lot more, a lot more hours. Which is interesting. I've usually stuck to about 7.5 hours a night and I'm good. And I'll find myself sleeping quite a bit more than that. And I'm like, this is weird. I need to get up.
I know. I know. My body is also having that need for a little more rest and recalibration.
And we are so accustomed to having that New Year resolution, to changing everything when the new year comes, because now this is the time to reset and renew. However, we want to nurture and we want to create like a blooming atmosphere. So in nature, nature isn't blooming, it's resting, rooting, and germinating. So there we go. We're resting, we're rooting in. And that could mean that you're creating a plan for how you're going to move into this year, and not necessarily jumping into everything that you want that plan to be.
Right. So like when we plant that seed, we're not expecting a flower to grow the next day.
Exactly.
So this can be the seed planting. So again, the structure, the creating the plan, looking toward the goal, and wanting to have a planned outcome.
Right.
But not jumping in so hard and fast.
Yeah, that momentum completely comes to a halt.
Right.
So, creating the plan now, moving into subtle changes, routines that are not going to overwhelm your systems, and then slowly and gradually, once we have that more of the springtime,
spring energy,
the spring solstice and everything, then moving into more, because you're already starting to develop that routine, and then you can really jump into a little bit
seeing the results,
seeing the results and
having the results right away. I mean, when you jump in so hard and fast, how many times have we done this, right? I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week. And then you get sick, you get hurt, you get burned out. I would say for me, sick and hurt would happen pretty often. And then you completely get derailed.
Yep.
And then it feels like you're starting over again.
Exactly.
Instead of having that consistent momentum, you're like, you went to the gym for 2 to 3 weeks. It was hard. Then you got hurt or you got sick, and then you took off another 2 to 3 weeks. And guess what? You are right back at the beginning then. When you start again, it's going to be, if you're doing the same thing again, it's going to be hard again.
Exactly.
And that's not very motivating.
Yeah. And winter winter's not about forcing the growth. It's a season for preparing the soil. So on top of these small habits, having a support system is so important. And I'm just going to be vulnerable here. I have, in my past, had issues with drinking. And when I had quit several different times while in this process throughout my life, and most of those times I didn't have a good support system. And so, of course, I'm white knuckling through it and I'm trying not to drink and those things. And of course, it was much easier when I was pregnant. That wasn't really an issue because you're doing it for somebody else. But when I finally quit, I needed a support system. And so when you're developing small habits, whether it's to break a habit, create good, healthy habits, having a support system is very important. And a gentle pace. If you have a mentor, if you have somebody in your life that you're like, I would strive to create habits or goals like they do. A lot of people find that they have envy in their life when it comes to that kind of stuff, but let's turn it around to something that is going to be more of, hey, will you help me? Can I text you a couple times a week?
Right. It's interesting, this thought that I've been doing a lot with manifesting right now. And I think you just described what they would call a person would be an expander in your life. So you see that person as an example, achieving that goal of what you want to be. That person expands your view. Like you can see that they are achieving something. And so you attach to that type of energy that expands your ability to achieve your goal.
Exactly. Surround yourself with those that can lift you up and create flexibility, and don't just be so rigid in your choices, in your goals. Like, this is my goal, this is what I have to do, and this is how I have to achieve it. Give yourself grace, because that is going to create overwhelm. If you are very rigid in your in the situations that you're trying to create, that's not going to help you in the end goal. That's where I find like yo-yo dieting and people just going back and forth with different things, trying different things, not sticking to something, and making it too rigid is always a no-go.
Right.
So you're planting seeds, you're not demanding fruit. There can be, say, you want to be able to incorporate a breath work. So do 5 minutes instead of jumping into the 45 minutes of breath work. Make one nourishing meal a day instead of every day, all day long. It has to be nothing but whole foods and eating clean. Start with one meal a day and work with small changes, and then go on a short walk.
Right.
And create a small, sustainable workout plan that will then in turn create better decisions. And that's one of the things that I love to do in my practice with clients, is to help them create the small changes, so then in the future they're willing to make the decisions that create bigger changes.
Right.
Because once you start feeling and noticing the difference of the small things, then you're willing to make bigger changes.
I think that's true.
Absolutely.
There's nothing more motivating than a little bit of success.
Yes, exactly.
And also, this gentleness is letting the body lead. And so I have the story on this, and it is exploring how your body communicates through fatigue, tension, excitement, or resistance. So checking in with your body. I think that's so important. In fact, it's like the foundation of what I teach, right?
Yeah.
Like how to check in with your body, checking in with your body, but also making sure that you're actually checking in with your body and not just your mind and what you think. And my example of this so clearly this morning was I set my alarm to go to yoga at 4:45 this morning. And I'll tell you what, like I almost tried to check in with myself at 4:45 in the morning when my alarm went off, right? And I'll tell you, I felt pretty good and comfy and warm in my bed. And I was like, And then I just had to tell myself, wait a minute, you did not set your alarm at 4:45 to check in with your body. You set your alarm at 4:45 to get up, to make it to the gym, to be able to do this yoga class. So, and I guess this kind of rolls back to that skeptic question, right? Are you just being soft and gentle and not having structure? And it's like, no, maybe if I was sick, that would have been a check-in with my body. Or maybe if I hadn't slept well, but I did sleep well. So really, there wasn't an excuse. And the check-in, you have to be clear about what your check-in is. Your check-in isn't just so you can say no. Sometimes your check-in that you made a commitment and you're going to follow through.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, and what feels supportive today? That could be a question I would have asked myself. And you know what? Getting to the gym and doing my workout is what felt supportive.
Exactly.
I don't think I needed more sleep right then. You know, I do feel better knowing that I went.
Yeah, and if you wouldn't have gone, you probably would have been like, well, I really should have got up.
And there's one more day that we didn't put the structure in and we didn't have consistency. Right. Like you can get the dopamine hit, that positive feeling from doing the task and crossing it off your list.
What does Mel Robbins say? She just says, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Just go. Just do it. I had a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 myself this morning because I was like, don't talk yourself out of this, girl. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's still being gentle with myself, right?
Yeah.
Because you know what? If I hadn't gone, I would have felt so much worse.
Right.
Right.
Like,
it would have
when are you going to get back on the,
get back on track. Exactly.
Yeah. And but however, I am going to kind of segue into if you do have that day where you say, well, I'm just not going to get out of bed and there's no really big reason that you didn't go do the thing that you wanted to do, don't just let that be the end all. Okay. Mm-hmm. You can get back on track the next day or even that evening. Maybe there was another class you could go to in the different time of day, or do a YouTube class or something. Even if you have a little bit of extra time somewhere in the day, or just get back on track the following day. Give yourself grace. So many people have this little, I'm not going to say so many, I think we all do. We all have this little voice in our head from some point in our life that says, no, you don't need to do that because I want what I want and you're going to listen to me. Mm-hmm. And that could be the little person, the child that didn't get what they wanted when they were a kid, or the kid that their parent always felt like they had to, make them exercise or put them on a diet, or, give them some kind of comment that went with them all their life.
Yeah. And so you almost have like that rebellion, like the feeling like you have the control to rebel
exactly
against what you're really trying to achieve. But in the long run,
it's not going to help.
That's not going to help you.
Ignoring that part of you is probably the worst thing that we can do, or giving into it. Now, so you're thinking, okay, this part of you have this subconscious area saying, no, don't do it. You don't deserve it. You're not good enough. You're never going to get this certain food again. So indulge and eat as much as you can, those kinds of things. And it's like,
I had a rough time over that. I feel a little called out right now.
I've been there too. It's so easy to let that part of your brain just overindulge or go the other route, don't eat. People who have a problem with not getting enough food or not eating enough different things. But to sit with that part of you is very important, to listen to it, to say, we are going to get another piece of this food. Mm-hmm. We're just not going to eat the whole cake. And we are going to be able to go back to the gym. We're just choosing not to do it right now. Or along those same lines, just whatever that part of you is telling you, comfort it. Know that rebellious side of you is part of you. Understand it, and you can start making choices along with it versus either ignoring it or allowing it to take over.
Yeah.
I feel like that is such a huge part when it comes to people making choices for their health and wellness.
There is a lot. There's a lot of psychology that goes into this.
So much.
There's you can unwrap 8 million different layers of all of these things about why we're not doing what we know we should do or we want to do, or ultimately we have the big goal, but then we need to break it down into smaller pieces, smaller doable pieces that we don't that you almost can't make an excuse not to do it. And then, as they say, grouping those habits, right?
Yeah. Or habit stacking.
Right. Like putting them together so that you follow through.
And having cheerleaders on your side, having that support
system.
So important.
Yes. Practical takeaways. Thinking about what can you do today, right now, to create this new routine or whatever, and not making it one that's going to overwhelm you. So choosing one small habit for January, I'm going to choose this 5:30 a.m. yoga once or twice a week because it's easy, it's actionable. There's nothing on my calendar. I can tell you that right now. There's nothing else on my calendar. And I am getting enough sleep. Like, I don't have kids that wake me up in the middle of the night. Like, there's no reason that I can't go to bed a reasonable season to wake up that early and still be getting enough sleep. So it's not like I'm taking from my sleep in order to do this other habit. I can go to bed early. I like to go to bed early. I'm an early riser. So to me, this isn't the craziest thing. It's really getting up about 45 minutes earlier than I normally get up. So
Yeah, I'm starting to get back on track with getting up a little earlier again. This morning wasn't too great, but
so, and then it says tying it to regulation, not results. So again, getting there, going, not saying I am going to be the best yogi ever or whatever, but just that habit of making it happen.
Slow starts, plant the seed, allow the doors to open. Because when we force those doors open, then overwhelm and burnout comes so much faster. Right. We're just pulling our hair out. And even when you're just in your exercise at that moment, whether you're doing a yoga class or an exercise class or just doing it at home or something, know that even during that time, it can overwhelm the nervous system. So we want to make sure that, okay, well, I'm not going to do a headstand today because I don't know how to do it yet. And you're not going to overwhelm yourself. Right. So take your time.
My early class was a yoga. It's not powerlifting.
Yes.
Right. It's still a nervous system regulating class.
Yeah.
That's early in the morning.
For sure. And so we want to, take some time for yourself, figure out how you're going to work your goals, go work backwards. Figure out your goals, where you want to be, work backwards, start with small things. Gentle beginnings do not delay growth. They make it possible. And when the roots are strong, the bloom grows naturally. So it just takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's an all or nothing situation. You don't have to be overwhelmed and be burned out. And what's just something that we can kind of end on a good note is, what's one way that you can soften or create a gentle move into your goals this week? So without giving up on where you're headed. So you said that you're going to be doing 1 or 2 yoga classes a week. I think for me, I'm really going to be working on waking up a little bit earlier every day so I can implement more time for my yoga practice, and just ensuring that, all is important and taking more time for family. Those are going to be my slow going activities. So yeah, I think, and that goes back to what we were talking about with 5 minutes of breath versus 45, or 1 meal a day versus all day long. But I think that kind of wraps it up. And unless you have any closing remarks.
Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us. Make a comment on how you're going to start your year. And we love you guys. And namaste.
Namaste.